So, does this mean that we can make the game world and the anime world sort of join forces? Well, it's all a matter of typing out the best what if possible. I bet you all thought I was going to say time. Hey folks, MasakoX here. Now, when it comes to the idea of Dragon Ball Super, there have been some good ideas which worked very well, but there are others which didn't quite hit the mark when it comes to what they were going for. Either it had something to do with the time slot that Dragon Ball Super was in at the time, or perhaps the bods in charge of it did a rush job in terms of getting the episodes out of the door, which was very common. But the one biggest thing that drove me so mad that it almost caused me to have an aneurysm was the moment, and I think you know where I'm going here, when Future Trunks' world was turned upside down, inside out, and then erased altogether by Zeno. All of a sudden, without a chance for anybody to do anything else to try and even reason with the Omni King, who then had nothing left until Goku did what he did. In this story, there is not much we can do to stop that from happening. I mean, it's done. But instead of allowing the characters of that reality to just lump what they got by going to another reality where they just had to sort of deal with it, they actually get to stand up with themselves for once and choose what to do. In this world, episode 67 may have landed a nasty blow for Trunks, but after that, he will do what has to be done. He and Mai want to do in this reality where they get to stay in the past and a whole new kettle of space fish is about to unfurl. Or splash. Or whatever is apt for a fish analogy. In any case, this timeline is something to which Mai and Trunks can actually get to do stuff, free from the icy clutches of Goku Black, and of course unbeknownst to them for the longest time, Zamasu. They now get to live around somewhere where the possibility of mingling with a copy of themselves is never gonna happen. Oh yeah, that whole thing Whis offered was off the table faster than blinking in the initial chapters of this timeline. Here, Trunks gets to call their destiny, and in this universe, they choose to stay in the present, hence the title, and then carve out lives for themselves here. However, with the Tournament of Power looming closer and closer, their chance for a long-term solution in regards to peace and contentment and just overall satisfaction is immediately taken away from them, and it all had something to do with Goku again. I mean, seriously, what if Goku never pressed the Zeno button? In the last part, Trunks found out about the Tournament of Power, and the usually lawful good guy who would do everything he could to aid his friends no matter what, lost it. Now, I know that this seems very much out of character. It may seem weird to you for him to fly off the handle like that, but okay. Given what he had to deal with at that time, and the fact that everything that he had strived to defend had been whipped away from him like that without a chance to counter it, it was a miracle that he actually didn't lamp one in Goku's mug before then. With him refusing to play ball right now, it was becoming clear that this Trunks had been badly affected, and he wouldn't be towing the line no matter how much Gohan or even Mai would try to calm him down. Zeno had gotten under his skin, despite never actually talking to Trunks or even knowing that Trunks existed. But one thing's for sure, the hero of time hated that diminutive deity. Beerus had something to say about that. He had had enough of Trunks' insubordination, and if it hadn't been for a sudden arrival of Cronoa, the supreme Kai of time, well, Trunks might have actually been gone. So, how can the game's lore add to this particular what if? Well, let's find out as we continue. The night air is still. Beerus was just about to shut Trunks up for good for his lack of playing ball with Team Universe 7 for the upcoming Tournament of Power. But then the person that he dreaded the most showed up. Well, I mean, the one that didn't scare him, but more like irritated him. Cronoa was here. She had gotten in the way of the cat, and despite her outward bravery and anger towards him making her look quite intimidating, on the inside, she was absolutely petrified. She was afraid of Beerus for his fiery temper, but she had gotten the upper hand and the surprise move on him, which was only better for her. Plus, she was here on business, not for a social call. So that meant that she didn't have to stick around for long, and Beerus was not allowed to get in her way. You don't want the likes of Zeno or the time-space continuum to get on top of you now, would you? Getting it all discombobulated? This half-Saiyan had already done enough of that already when time. Trunks was standing there looking down at the small deity. Excuse me, but what are you doing, Supreme Kai of... what was it again? Time, Cronoa retorts quite politely. She wanted to rub it in Beerus' face that not all the heavenly beings had to be so cranky with mortals like he was. Whis was chuckling in the background. He did find her funny.
I'm here for you, Trunks. And as much as you seem like a very nice young boy, you're in big trouble.
Cronoa wags her finger in Trunks' direction. What do you mean? I've not done anything wrong. She doesn't seem impressed with what she thinks is him playing dumb.
Now, I may look quite fresh-faced and nubile for my age, but I am not a simpleton. You have done plenty wrong. Okay, I get that you being able to travel through time at all on your own scientific steam is mighty impressive, but it still doesn't let you get away with doing something incredibly dangerous.
Trunks is still baffled. But if we didn't, Goku Black would have destroyed this reality too. Cronoa shakes her head.
We have time patrollers to take care of that stealth, and I'm not talking about that transgression. I'm talking about the first one. A while back, you traveled here to deliver warnings about androids or something, and change the course of history. It meant that you created another time ring, and thusly splintered off the temporal destiny of the multiverse, making it a whole big headache for me.
Trunks blinks, not understanding what she said. She sighs heavily.
You done goofed, kid. You weren't supposed to do that. You broken temporal law with all the stunts that you pulled. Where is your time machine, by the way?
Trunks, not wanting to anger this important person anymore, simply gives her the time machine capsule in his pocket, and she swipes it from him. In the background, you could hear Bulma groaning audibly.
Oh, there goes my scientific awards. Ah. Okay, good. You decided to go the easy way. You are a good kid, but you're not done yet. What you did is a mortal sin, and making time machines is a crime. If you want to be forgiven, work under me.
Work under you? Mutters Trunks.
Do you speak in more than just echoes?
She grunts, getting slightly annoyed with him.
Yes, you work for me now. I say so. If you don't, then, well, I can easily go back in time and make sure that you were never born. Do you really want that to happen?
Trunks gaspes and Beerus perks up his ears. That's a pretty bold punishment there. Not bad. It seems like you have some kind of spine after all, despite your puny stature. Not wanting to lose this illusion of dominance in front of Beerus, Cronoa crosses her arms like an angry parent. Well, more like disappointed.
So, what's it gonna be?
She closes her eyes for a moment and then slightly opens one to see if it looked like that it was scared of her. They were. Good. I understand now, Miss Supreme Kai of Time. What my mother and I did was against the law. For that, I want to make it up to you. He's bowing profusely, and she's quite astonished at how seriously he was taking this. He wasn't too sure of how mortals would handle this sort of talk, but this one was very much in the camp of being very compliant and keen to follow orders. She could do with more of those sorts of people.
Good answer, bucko. Now, what's been going on here, Beerus? Why were you trying to hurt this adorably obedient young mortal?
Wow, that's a mood switch. Going from being really annoyed with Trunks one second, the next second, she's fighting his corner. And Beerus, who had been really just paying semi-attention, jerks his way back into the conversation. I'm surprised you hadn't heard about this since you know everything about events in history and the like. It's the Tournament of Power. It's fast approaching thanks to this bumbling fool. He points to Goku, who blinks confusedly. Cronoa nods. Ah yes, Son Goku. She heard plenty about this guy and would hear plenty more to come. She motions for the cat to continue. Your now pet was refusing to heed our call for help, all because the Omni King erased what was left of his timeline. Cronoa looks to Trunks and then thinks about this for a second. Ah yes, Zeno was one for some very brash decisions like this. She would feel more sorry for Trunks, but all this proved what she was trying to say. Messing around with time will just end up blowing up in your face, and in this case, it did, leading to Trunks losing everything. It was a hard lesson to learn, but it was a necessary one. Cronoa was different to most Kais in that she actually sort of understood how mortals felt, and one thing that she had tons of was empathy. She had been there since almost the beginning, and since peoples rise and fall, live and die as well as grieve, coming to terms with tons of events that she was obliged to allow to happen kind of meant that you had to have some kind of a soul.
I see. This tournament, when does it take place? I think about a day or so from now,
pipes up Goku.
Right. Not that it matters anyway. I'm the Supreme Kai of Time after all. I can get you back here in no time.
Beerus grinds his teeth. There's nothing little about this. The only thing positively little about this is you butting in uninvited. She grimaces to herself, keen for Beerus not to notice.
Anyway, I've explained enough. You're coming with me, Trunks.
She grabs his hand and starts to walk away from the scene. Mai, who had quietly watched from the side, then shouts for him. Don't worry, Mai. I'll be fine. Cronoa seems like a nice person. She whacks him on the head.
Supreme Kai of Time to you. You're still a bad boy.
The pair disappear, leaving the gang trying to process what just happened, and then having to figure out what to do next. When they get back to Cronoa's headquarters, she then goes through the motions explaining the role of the Time Patrollers. She explains that with her leadership, she and her patrollers go around time, fixing any erroneous situations that are not meant to happen naturally. In short, if any bad energy gets thrown into the mix of the time scrolls, then they had to go and clean it up.
I should have really done the same stuff to the stuff that you meddled in, but, you know, tell you what. If you pull your weight around here, I might look the other way. I didn't want to admit this in front of Bears Kid, but what you did, I can tell you did for the right reasons. Hence why I stepped in and saved you from being erased. Bears has got such a hot temper, hasn't he?
You mean there's a timeline where I actually died? Cronoa twitches a little.
Yeah. It's best not to dwell on that, otherwise that will get you nowhere here.
Trunks nods. Right! I will do whatever it takes to uphold the role of the Time Patrollers! She waves her hand.
Cool it, pal. I had a guy like that once, name was Silas. He took the job a little too much to heart. You might want to take it down a notch if you know what's good for you.
But he's still keen to please. She sighs and they proceed with further schooling. Soon enough, Trunks gets to prove himself as Cronoa's assistant and aids in the struggle against Toa and Mira in the hero's arc, the Dark Demon Realm saga. She offers to change his clothes, but Trunks is more comfortable wearing his regular clothes that he had in the Goku Black arc. So, in this timeline, he chooses to eschew the typical Zeno Trunks look, the stuff that you see in Xenoverse. I won't go into too much detail here, but basically, we get the introduction for Trunks into the idea of the Dark Demon Realm, him fighting the Masked Saiyan, which is then revealed, surprise surprise, to be Zeno Bardock, and the pair are able to push Toa and Mira back. After being able to hold his own against these two pests, Cronoa is very impressed with Trunks' progress, and it then progresses into the whole situation with even more demons with Mechikabura and then the Dark Dragon Balls. Now, I'm not going to actually go on to these events really, because the story in this saga doesn't really differ from the manga in any way in terms of the story beats, but if you do want to check it out, then you can check out the Super Dragon Ball Heroes Dark Demon Realm Mission Saga. It will tickle your fancy. But I'll give you the ending here though if you're not interested. It's a very long story. Basically, Trunks turns into a Super Saiyan God, and he is able to seal the demon leader Mechikabura in an eternal labyrinth and send Dimigra, the boss from the first Xenoverse game, packing. With that, Cronoa has seen her new assistant improve massively.
You know what, kid? You did good. I'm feeling extra generous. Your actions in the past, totally forgiven. However, I still like you have plenty of do for me here.
However, Trunks then thinks about something that he had been meaning to ask for a while that only just came back into his head. Supreme Kai of Time, do you mind if I went back to the time when you picked me up, please? I have some unfinished business there. I want to help my friends in the Tournament of Power. Cronoa thinks for a moment.
I'm not sure. Let me check if that's possible.
She then consults the time scrolls and finds out whether this was meant to happen. Fortunately for our boy, it was meant to happen. She smiles at him.
Okay, you can settle this tournament thing, but I want you back here after it's done. You got that?
Got it! Thank you, Supreme Kai of Time! With that, Trunks plans to head back to the past, seconds after he'd actually left. When he arrives, the gang are left floored. They'd only just seen him vanish off with Cronoa, but one thing was for sure, whatever happened meant that Trunks was stronger now than he was when he left. Vegeta, his father, walks up to him. What happened to you, boy? What kind of test did you have to do? It's a long story, Dad, but I passed muster for Cronoa. I'm off the hook. Gohan then asks what he was doing back here then. I'm here to help you guys for the tournament. I'm sorry for being so stubborn just now. It was kind of hard to get used to the fact that to them he'd only just left. Beerus opens one eye. Good. Her methods are weird and sappy, but this time they got results. It's about time you shut up and take the situation more seriously. Whis then blinks. Oh, do I detect some god key within you, Trunks? He nods. I had to fight the likes of Demigra. It was pretty tough. Whis blinks. Oh my, that was a test. Well, either way, I'm glad to see you came out the other end in one piece. With that, Trunks gets into the mix of the training, and with him now in the team, we now no longer have the need for Frieza to be called upon for the team. So, therefore, he's out. Mai is jubilant to see Trunks again back, and together they embrace.
I'm so glad that you're okay, Trunks.
I'm more than okay. Not having to worry about time travel anymore? It's such a relief. With Cronoa helping us, I know we can do some good for the multiverse.
We?
Mai blinks. Yeah, you can help out too. We could always do with more time patrollers. Mai shuffles a little bit. About that.
I don't think I'm in a condition to help you right now.
And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. So what do you folks think? Why is Mai so reluctant to help out Trunks right now? Will Super Saiyan God be able to help out in this version of the Tournament of Power? leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!